turn this trailer into a tiny house. What goes up must come down.
Pull your cart, little boy.
This is a lot of work, but we'll get there.
There's still more water coming out of that thing.
Anyone else gonna go to the bathroom?
You can't afford a nice door.
Oh yeah?
Cheap ass.
Oh, that's it? Really? That's how we're gonna go with that? By the way, we were gone. When you were gone, I made this. That's my face. Like I put my face on it and I drew a. This is my eyes.
Blah, blah, blah.
That's my nose. This is my nose and that's my chin.
I want to know why you're doing that. Can you explain?
I'm very tired.
Oh, well, I've survived so far. 2 months and a week of almost 24/7 with this guy.
Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't even think about it! Don't even dream
The walls or the project?
Oh, but the project. The moment you think about doing a tiny home,
Go buy one.
check yourself into a mental institution. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 24 of the TinyWanderland Chronicles. I'm your host Jay, and fair warning, if you hear a loud crash, just an unbelievably loud crash, that is the Jenga game that I'm playing right now on the table. I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 28 stories. Not bad. And I've been playing it while I have been encoding these episodes. So, all right, you don't care about that. You want to know about what's going on with the TinyWanderland. All right, let's get into it. So we are on episode 24. This is a shot of the roof. Fair heads up, that red light that you see looks like a kind of like a rope light. I had purchased it as kind of accent lighting around the tent at night. It never was used, and let me repeat, it was never plugged in ever. Just one of those things, I guess, where just never found a use for it. I'm not saying that we couldn't use it or that it's not usable. We just don't. It's just not used. It's just hanging out up there. This is the Tiny Wanderer. All the walls are furred in. I can't tell in this if the windows are in. I don't think they are in yet. We did wait a while for the windows. It was a lot of work to get those windows in. Just more pictures of the absolute chaos. It was the Tiny Wanderer. Our glowing toilet, we were really proud of that. Another picture of me sleeping. There's a surprise. This man on the right is Drew Blad from Blad Solar Energy Products in Hurricane, Utah. I cannot endorse his work, nor can I endorse his knowledge. And I'll get into that a little bit later. We paid him close to $3,000 for solar, and it never worked. Let me say again, it never ever worked. And so basically, we found out, like I said, 7 months later, that he actually didn't finish hooking it up properly, and so the system never functioned the way it was supposed to, and it was just a complete nightmare. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but this is more pictures of the lair, and of course the craziness that we went through. Oh, sorry, that was Drew's shop. I apologize. This is Drew's shop in Hurricane, Utah. There's me and him configuring what I wanted from him. So basically, I knew nothing about solar, guys. I was, fresh off the farm, so to speak, and I told him what I wanted. and what I needed it to do, and he said he could make it happen. These are some pictures of some old batteries that Drew had in his yard. I would be getting newer versions of these. There's me with $1,000 cash as a down payment to Drew. That's Heather probably with a couple Cokes celebrating. Actually, you know what? No, that is Drew's shop. Drew's father worked for a Coca-Cola bottling plant, and these were some of the last bottles that were bottled in that format, I guess. I don't remember specifically why we took that picture, but they were really old bottles of Coke. There's Drew's truck. This is Home Depot. We're now looking at electrical. Back in the Tiny Wanderer again. Oh, see, there's the windows. I told you they weren't in. I don't remember exactly when they went in, but there's the cutouts for them. This is where I wanted that ladder to be positioned. I think this was, yeah, see, there's the first window in, and then just more views of the Tiny Wanderer, the immenseness of the project. I mean, this is Heather goofing off. One thing I want to point out in this episode is that Heather was instrumental in taking Maggie a lot of times when I could not even leave the lair and go in to pick up electrical connectors, extra sealant, extra tools. She did a lot of errand girl running for me, and I'm so thankful that I had her there. She was instrumental. I would have had to pack up all the tools, put the Tiny Wanderer inside the unit, shut the unit, and it just would have been a crazy amount of things I would have had to do. And thankfully with Heather there, I didn't have to do that. That's her shooting me with the sealant. Yes, this is definitely the windows going in. You can see the process of that. Looks like Heather was working on that. This is me and another, what am I doing? I don't know. Silicone. There's so much silicone on the Tiny Wanderer. We could call her a female. She's got so much silicone in her. A little joke there. There is a view. This is the Tiny Wanderer. I don't remember where it is. I think this might have been a Harbor Freight parking lot. It could have been anywhere. Actually, this may have been the hotel parking lot. See her out and about. I think we were taking her to Roberts, I believe. I think we were taking her to Roberts, but that was me posing with her. You can clearly see from the very beginning the weight on Maggie was too much. She was already in a downward dog pose. There's a cabinet with the sink and the stove in, kind of just sizing that in. There's me in Home Depot waiting for help as usual. Exhausted. I think I fell asleep in that aisle, actually. Me looking at some of the specs of how they did the example wiring. I will tell you this: when you're working on a tiny home project, and if you're wondering what that sipping is, it's called Bang Rainbow Unicorn. Excuse me. And Alaska got me hooked on it. It's incredibly good. It keeps me awake. It says it's potent brain and body fuel. So, hey, what the heck. Anyway, back to Home Depot. They will help you out with almost anything, but they will not, under any circumstance, tell you how to hook up electrical. They're not electricians, and therefore I guess it's some sort of rule with their company that they can't give out electrical advice. Heather took this. There were some enormous sunflowers in Utah. They are gorgeous. They're everywhere. I am not, for the record, taking a pee in this picture. I think I was just sizing headroom and where the toilet was going to end up and where the cabinets were going to end up. If you look carefully, you'll see the gas prices in the Sunset are just stupid low. What was it, $2.39, I think, at that place? That gas station, actually, a year later, isn't even there anymore. It's an empty parking lot now where the homeless people hang out. I don't know why they took it out or why they shut it down, but more measurements. These are gas cans that we were sizing up that Robert was going to make custom gas racks on the side of the Tiny Wanderer for. Later, one of those would actually explode violently, and I think I have a photo of that. You'll see it in a later episode, but take it from me. Metal gas cans that do not vent should not be placed in direct sunlight. It doesn't end well. So, as you see, the Tiny Wanderer is gone. I was at Roberts. We were exploring heaters and heating options at this point. I don't know what this is. Oh, it's Heather at some little lemonade stand that these girls were selling cookies and muffins. I think I accidentally ate the muffin she bought. But there's more work at the lair. There's Robert. And we're back at Robert's shop with Heather, and you can see he's sizing up and adjusting the gas racks. There's just it looks like a good picture of me, but I was just, my whole entire world, guys, it's hard to explain unless you were there. This was pretty much par for the course after a long day or two. Me working more on the setup for the walls. I did try testosterone at this point in my life. I wanted to see if it would help me pick up speed. It did not. That is an interesting setup. This is me testing out the weight of the walls, just kind of chilling. There's more setup of how it would look, the weight of the, this was initially supposed to be 2 benches for chairs and a table in the middle. Trust me when I tell you this did not work out. It was never used, although it was strong enough to support weight. It just was, the tiny home was just too small. It just was. More of our site rules. I'll let you guys take a good look at this. Very important to follow the site rules. And we tried our best. It wasn't always easy. It was a very stressful environment. Another beautiful Utah sunset, me exploring jacks. I went to a place called Matt Springs, and in the back of their yard, there was these old broken down trailer jacks. And for like $5, Jesse from Matt Springs, who would become a very close friend of mine. If you watch the TinyWanderland, you'll see many encounters with Jesse and Matt Springs. These are very unique people, but they're very good people as well. My beginnings with Jesse was not the best. Originally, we realized Maggie was not going to be strong enough to carry the tiny home, so I went to Jesse to order some airbags that he was going to install on the Maggie, and I just got like a runaround for 3 weeks. He didn't answer his phone. He didn't call me back. His friend didn't know what was going on with shipping. Ultimately, we never ended up purchasing anything from Jesse except for these shocks. But later on in life, when I came back to Cedar City for the renovations, which you'll see in the TinyWanderland, me and Jesse did, I wouldn't say made amends because we never were fighting, but Jesse just turned out to be a really good guy, and I was thankful to have known him. He didn't do a lot of work on the Tiny Wanderer. In fact, I don't think he did any work on it, but I have to say, for the record, in the Chronicles, Jesse and the guys at Matt Springs were very instrumental in helping make this all work. It may not have happened right away, but eventually it did. And I just saw Jesse the other day, actually. And his first question was, what are you still doing in Cedar City, Utah? So anyway, this is me back at the hotel, just checking things out. Every so often, we did have to break away from the craziness that was the Tiny Wanderer. And me and Heather took a ride up to the Cola Reservoir on Little Coup, was Little Coup at the time. And this was a sunset with the wildfires in the distance, more sunset pictures, me taking pictures, more sunset pictures. More sunset pictures of Little Coup behind me. There's Little Coup in the sunset. Me and Little Coup. This is me and Heather at Brad's Food Hut on Main Street. Excellent food. There's a picture of Matt Springs. That's where Jesse works. That's where him and his crew are. One night I spent, I think, 24 to 25 hours awake working and finally passed out on the floor unconscious. When I woke up, I was covered in blood. I don't know what happened. I think it just was overworking. I think some capillaries burst in my nose while I was sleeping or something. I don't know. I had so much stuff in my nose, guys. I had insulation, metal, chemical, welding, wood chips, you name it. It was crazy. There's a picture of the Tiny Wanderer. Our generator, we'd finally purchased it. Then we were no longer using Tyler's. You'll see a clip on this channel talking about like which one is quieter, which one is heavier, and you can watch that. That's something for later. I'm just amazed how red that thing was. It doesn't even look like that anymore. More work. Electrical going in, and me working the graveyard shift. So that's going to do it for episode 24, everybody. I'll see you in episode 25. I'm going to get back to my Jenga game. I really think that if I pull this one right here, oh, look at that. I'm playing it right now, actually live, guys. No joke. I am literally playing Jenga right now. And, oh, okay. I'm not playing Jenga. but I was up to like 28 stories. So anyway, feel free to follow us on social media, Instagram. I don't really recommend Twitter because there's like no one there. It's just all about the political people and the people that, like I said, run their mouth and think they know everything. And a lot of companies use it, but I've never had success for it. I don't think we have one follower on Twitter. I don't think we do. So you want to follow us on Twitter, you be our first one. Check us out on Instagram. We got all kinds of cool stuff going on there. Got a lot of cool friends that do tiny homes and tiny home accounts. And we like to hang out with the van lifers and talk about how they like to tell you that van lifing and tiny home living is clean and spotless and everything is perfect. And it's just not true, guys. It's just not true. Check out the TinyWanderland if you want to know what real tiny home living is like. Anyway, also on Facebook, and we're here on YouTube. And of course, we'll see you in episode 25 of the TinyWanderland Chronicles. Thank you for coming along. You can see the bang is starting to kick in. I got more energy. See you guys in episode 25.